from the Sunday evening Vespers. I'm going to read Psalm 75, the first 5 verses, and I'm going to talk about some deer and some cows for a little bit. We give thanks to you, O God. We give thanks. Your name is near. People tell of your wondrous deeds. At the set time that I appoint, I will judge with equity, you say. When the earth totters with all its inhabitants, it is I, you say, who keep its pillars steady. I say to the boastful, don't boast, and to the wicked, don't lift up your horn. Do not lift up your horn on high, or speak with insolent neck. Insolent neck. So if you read that and you think that somebody's got a trumpet or a trombone and they're lifting up their horn, you got the wrong picture. The horn that the psalmist is talking about there is the horn of a ram, an animal, especially a male. And that's also true of deer or animals like deer with antlers. Antlers and horns are different. Horns an animal has for life, except for the pronghorn antelope in our country. They lose their horns and grow new ones every year. But most animals with horns, they got them for life. They just keep getting bigger and bigger. Whereas antlers fall off every year and then they grow, but they also get bigger. And insolent neck reminds me of in just a few weeks, the white-tailed deer here in our area, New Jersey, the bucks are going to be moving into the breeding season, and they get insolent necks. Their necks swell. They get twice, maybe 3 times its normal size. It swells from all the hormones that are kicking around in their bodies, and they walk with a bully attitude. They walk with arrogance. And you better not get in your way if you're another deer. They'll let you have it. They'll take those antlers and run them right at you. And it's quite a scene as they walk stiff-legged and stiff-necked, and you can see it in their eyes, just to get in their way, get out of their way. And bulls are like that too, and so are goats. We had goats and rams. We had all of them on the farm, and all the males at those seasons of the year would become very insolent, very, very bullyish, and you just didn't want to get in their way ever. And my brother had a dairy farm up in western New York, and I was up visiting him a number of decades ago, soon after he began the farm there. The cows would come in the morning to be milked, and in the barn in the evening again to be milked. The rest of the day they were out in the pasture, and as they come in, they would separate them by small groups, and then move them into the area where they would be milked, and then they'd move them out, and the next group in, and so forth. And I happened to be there when there was a group had just come into the barn waiting to take their turn to be milked, and there was like 5 or 6 of them huddled in the corner, and they were literally shaking. And then there was one cow standing by herself. It looked mean. She just looked mean. And I mentioned to my brother, what's going on here? You got those cows over there, and you got this one here by itself. And he says, oh, you know what that cow's name? That cow's name is Mean Cow. I said, Mean Cow? How'd you get that name? And he says, because she's a bully. They're cowering in the corner, because if they come out of there, she's gonna take her horns and run right into them. She bullies them all the time. And I said, wow. I said, isn't that bad for the herd? He said, it sure is. I said, well, what are you gonna do? He said, well, I'd make hamburger out of her, except she's the best milker I have. She gives more income from the milk than any other cow, so I can't afford not to keep her. I said, oh, well, hope that works out somehow. A couple of years later, I was back up there, and the situation was similar. I walked into the milking area early in the morning at 5 in the morning, and all the next group to go in there they're all getting along and all nice, together. And I asked my brother, say, whatever happened to Mean Cow? He says, that's her. He pointed to one of the cows there. I said, that's Mean Cow? She's licking another cow's head like that's an affectionate sign, And he said, yeah, we renamed her. I said, what'd you name her? He said, Nice Cow. I said, how did Mean Cow become Nice Cow? He said, look at her. See anything different? I'm looking over this cow. And I said, not really. And he says, look at her head. I said, hey, what happened to her horns? He said, we cut them off. And he says, the day we cut off her horns, she became Nice Cow. She no longer bullied other cows. She looks after them. She takes care of them. She shows them where good pasture is. She's a nice cow. sometimes, friends, we need God to trim our horns, don't we? Sometimes we get a little bullish, a little bullyish. Sometimes we like to throw our weight around, our neck swells with pride. Sometimes we think we're the best thing to ever happen on planet Earth, and we need God to trim our horns back, don't we? Heavenly Father, feel free anytime I need the horns trimmed. You just do what you need to do, Lord. Help me to be humble, not arrogant. Help me to be like Jesus, not like the devil. We ask this in your holy name. Amen. God bless. See you next week.